Hello, so I'm just gonna talk about some things. It's about 1 o'clock right now, and I don't know, I don't feel like going to bed yet, so yeah. Um, okay, I'm probably just gonna talk about philosophy for about 10 minutes, just general stuff, whatever comes to mind. Um, yeah. Today I was thinking about whether there is one theory, or if there's a theory which can be created in order to describe um, or encompass the whole of reality rather than just focusing on a little bit of it. And basically, I feel like this is impossible because reality is just too vast, and perhaps it's too subjective for there to be one theory which covers everything. It's like maybe you could try, you could write a book with like 1,000,000 pages, but that still wouldn't do it justice. That would most likely be a book speculating about lots of different theories, lots of different perspectives. You wouldn't be able to just put it all into one perspective. Like, I feel like people have probably tried to do this. Maybe they've tried to encompass the whole of reality, but when you think about the whole of reality, it's not just one thing. It's not just a few things. It's a lot of things. It's everything. We obviously have to, I guess, narrow it down a little bit. So, um, like, I'm thinking about philosophy, but even philosophy, like, just words like that, it's not just the word. It's not just philosophy. It's not just one thing. It's all the things it encompasses. Philosophy is like a symbol or a signpost, and it stems off into all these different areas, and that's also philosophy. But it's like it's a, it's a it's a part of philosophy. It's one of the components that makes it up. Without all of no, because you can have philosophy without having all of the different components there. But if because philosophy, it's more than just a word. The word is like it's the language we use to describe the connotations which are attached to it. It's and the word has no intrinsic value. It's literally it's whatever it means to you. So philosophy might have a completely different meaning to me than it does to you. I don't know, but I'm assuming if you watch my channel, then you probably have an interest in philosophy. So maybe so I assume you know generally what I'm talking about, because debatably, well, not debatably, there are objective. There is an objective meaning to the word philosophy, perhaps, because there's a dictionary definition of the word, and there is different topics within philosophy which are objectively true. They're there, you can go, you can search them, you can read about them, you can look them up. But what isn't necessarily objective is your perspective of that. It's perhaps the feelings you have towards it, that whether you like or dislike a specific theory, or whether you agree with something, they're the things that are subjective, but perhaps those are the things that really define it, because all of the different words, all of the different theories, without having the person there to be able to interpret it, it's nothing, it's meaningless. It's just words, and this isn't just philosophy, this is just an example I'm using, but English or history, it's like, to a child, you say the word history to a 3-year-old child, it's just a word, it's got no intrinsic value. We as adults have been socialised to, I guess, learn the language of the world, learn the language that we use to describe the world, and learning language is important because it's what we use to understand the world around us. The more language we have, the more we're able to understand. And the more we're able to understand, I guess, the more we know, and the more that we're able to contribute to the world. And if we're able to contribute to the world, then we have an opportunity to be able to make it better. And maybe not everyone's intention is to make the world a better place, but perhaps it should be. But then again, we've got another problem with subjectivism, haven't we? Because my definition of a better world isn't the same as your definition. Or perhaps a more objective example of this is politics. You've got left-wing politics and right-wing politics. The right believe that they're correct, and the left believe that they're correct, but the two completely perhaps opposing ideologies which believe they have the right answers, and they want to push their ideology onto the world, and perhaps that's due to the personality types of the people or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, I forgot what I was talking about there. So what one person thinks is better isn't necessarily intrinsically better, it's just better for that person. Yeah. And this goes back to the thing I was talking about at the start with perhaps something like a moral theory which encompasses everything, or a philosophical theory which just encompasses everything. And I guess the question of that would be, or the aim of that would be, the meaning of life. Because I feel like the meaning of life is probably one of the biggest questions there are, because it's so vague, but it's literally, because we like to find meaning within things, but life itself is massive. It's like you can take that down so many different routes. You can look at it in terms of consciousness, or biology, or religion, or all the different aspects of life, of perhaps animal life, human life. Just, yeah, it's an extremely broad term which to be able to find one single meaning to, that would be like crazy. And I feel like that's what religions have aimed towards. It's like perhaps in Christianity the meaning of life is compassion, but even then there's a lot more to it than that. It's like, well, you should worship God, and you should do this, and you should do that, and you should love people. It's not just like one rule. And then there's like Buddhism, and that's literally to like reach enlightenment, or just accept the world as it is, and perhaps let go of material things. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like I'm not making much progress with this conversation. It's probably because I'm tired, so I can't keep a thought pattern going for long enough to be able to actually talk in depth about something. Or maybe that's just a thought I'm having about what I'm saying. But, you know, maybe we can't define the world with words adequately, because theories is just language, isn't it? And I say just language, but language in comparison to objective experience, or experience in the external world, is extreme. The language we use is extremely simple. It's just an arrangement of letters which we've learned to attach a meaning to. But that's the thing, the meaning is subjective, and the objective world out there is objective, like I've just said. It's something outside of ourselves, which perhaps language can't quite do justice. Because objective experience was around before us, the world was around before we were around. Language is quite a new thing in the evolutionary timeline. So to be able to try and use something which quite modern to describe something old, it's like, how can we possibly do that adequately? We can attempt, we can do it with art, we can do it with anything, but it doesn't necessarily give an accurate depiction of reality. Like, my walls covered in art and writing and stuff, but what does it really say? Again, it's subjective, it's how you want to interpret it. Yeah, life's weird. Perhaps there's no objective meaning, but does it matter? Maybe there is an objective meaning, it's just one we can't describe with language. It's something we've just got to experience, and we've just got to sort of learn to live life as it is. Okay, thanks for watching.